Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dharma Helper and this is DH Reviews. This is my Season 1, Episode 9 review of Gotham. If you missed any of my other Gotham reviews, there will be a link in the description of this video, as well as an annotation behind me on the screen. You can click either of those, and that'll take you right to the playlist that I have that has all of my Gotham videos in it. Also, earlier this week, I put out my Constantine Season 1, Episode 4 review. So if you're interested in my thoughts on that series, there will be a link down below for you to follow that as well and click that. And that'll take you right to the playlist for that series. Season 1, Episode 9 of Gotham was called Harvey Dent. And in this episode, an inmate named Ian Hargrove, who made bombs and blew up buildings, is broken out of Blackgate Penitentiary by the Russian outfit that is probably the remnants of Nikolai's outfit in order to break into Carmine Falcone's vault and steal his money at the request of Fish Mooney. Also in this episode, Jim Gordon makes a very powerful new ally in his fight against the crime and corruption of Gotham City and deals with a lot of personal problems. And Bruce Wayne also makes a very powerful and influential and faithful friend in this episode. And finally, Penguin uncovers the truth about Liza and deals with that in his own way. So that covers the story of the episode. Let's talk about the characters, and let's first talk about Jim Gordon. As I said, Jim Gordon deals with a personal problem in this episode in that he and Barbara seem to be separated now. Barbara left him and left with that letter and said, you know, this is not what you need in your life. I realize that I've been needy and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so at the end of the episode, towards the end of the episode, it's revealed that Barbara is back with Montoya. And talking very, very briefly about that, the relationship that Montoya and Gordon have now of being allies is in jeopardy now that Montoya and Barbara are back together. So again, it goes back to what I've been saying about that triangle of relationships and how eventually the truth is going to come to light and things are going to come to a head. And in regards to Gordon, I think this is going to impact his relationship with Montoya and the MCU and his relationship with Barbara, because this is the ultimate in betrayal. This is just heartbreaking, and there's no way that he's not going to figure this out. And now that he's dealing with Montoya on a daily basis and working with Montoya in the MCU, there's no way that he's not going to figure out that that's what's going on. And that's going to be another thing that drives him to the edge that I've been talking about over my last couple of reviews. I've been saying that eventually we're going to see Jim crack, and this is going to push him further towards that edge as he starts to struggle again with that personal life, professional life problem. Now his professional life is directly in conflict with his personal life, and that's going to be tragic in the way that it comes to light and in the way that it comes to a head. Speaking very briefly about Barbara's decision in regards to Montoya, that again to me is the ultimate betrayal, and besides that it makes no sense. She claimed in the letter that she was doing things to protect Jim and keep Jim safe and all this stuff and blah blah blah, and then you go ahead and you turn around and you get back into a relationship with the woman that was trying to arrest Jim not 3 or 4 episodes ago, and you get back into that destructive relationship that could only hurt Jim. That's the only way that that's going to end, is that Jim is going to get hurt. And I don't see the logic behind that decision not just in terms of the character, but in terms of the story, in terms of the way that that character was written. I don't see the logic behind that, but to create that drama. So let's talk about Jim Gordon's new and powerful friend, Harvey Dent. And Harvey and Jim together, they concoct this plan to work with Selena Kyle in flushing out the Wayne's killers by perpetuating the story that they found a witness and the witness ID'd all these people, and they want to see who bites, and they want to see what they can gain from letting the story leak out and trying to figure out who killed the Waynes. So Jim and Harvey are building this case using the sketch that Selena provided and all this stuff, and it goes back to how far is Jim willing to go in his fight against this corruption. In his conversation with the MCU and with Dent, it came across to me that he's not willing to make the jump quite yet, that he's still very much the Jim Gordon that we've seen in these last 8 episodes, that he's sticking to his guns and doing things his way and doing things the honorable, just way. And the MCU and Harvey both realize that that's not going to work, and they both are doing things. Montoya, Crispus, and Harvey are doing things their own way. And until they can get on the same page as Gordon, and Gordon can get on the same page as them, they're going to be at a disadvantage. And it's going to be interesting to see at what point Gordon caves and starts to behave in the way that Gotham City is trying to force upon him. So that kind of covers my thoughts on Gordon. Let's talk about Penguin in this episode. As I said, Penguin discovers the truth about Liza, and he basically blackmails her and says, you're going to continue working for Fish, or I'm going to kill you. And so, to me, this again can go one of two ways. As I said, I think in my previous review, my review of episode 8, I said he's either going to use her against Fish or use her against Carmine, or both. And right now, I think he's going to try to use her against Fish. I think his hatred of Fish is his Achilles heel. His obsession with Fish is his Achilles heel, and he's going to use Liza against Fish more so than Carmine. For now, I believe that Carmine and he are working together, and he has no reason to betray Carmine or to disrupt or go up against Carmine. So how that plays out is going to be pretty cool and pretty interesting to look at. But again, I don't think he has any reason to go up against Carmine, and even if he did, I don't think he'd win necessarily, and I think he knows that. Penguin is very smart. Oswald's very smart, and he knows that Carmine is also very smart. So the two of them have that understanding, and they're probably not going to be adversaries quite yet. Speaking about Fish, Fish is done. Fish has been done for a while, but now that Penguin knows about Liza, Fish is toast. There's nothing left that she can do. In this episode, she tried to get the money from Carmine and blow the money up and all that stuff, and she succeeded. She took out his money, but let's be honest, a man like Carmine Falcone can make money just as quickly as he lost it. So really, she's got nothing left in the tank at this point, and it's just a matter of time before things start to catch up to her. Just speaking very briefly about that whole plan about the money, to me, a man like Carmine Falcone keeps the location of that vault very close to his chest, and only a select few people know about it. So maybe Fish's plan was to frame Maroni for that, right? But that doesn't make sense because there's no way that Maroni would know about the vault's location, because there's no way that Carmine would let an enemy know where he keeps his money. The only people who would know where he keeps his money are the people closest to him, are the people on his camp, and he knows that Fish is trying to betray him. So he knows, in my mind, he already knows that she was the one behind that money attack. And again, that's just another nail in her coffin, and it's just a matter of time before Fish is done at this point. So wrapping up my thoughts on Penguin, I think very soon here we're going to see Penguin put the final nail in Fish's coffin and do his whole thing where he gloats and he's like, oh, you should have accepted my apology. You should have done this and that and that. And we see these sort of comical, whimsical, gloating behavior from Penguin that we're used to, and that is very comic booky and very signature Penguin behavior. So where that goes and his relationship with Liza is going to be cool to look at, I think, because those two characters maybe have a little bit to work with. From my understanding of Penguin's mythology, he has a number of henchwomen that are named after other birds. And so is Liza maybe destined to be one of his henchwomen? Can he turn Liza? And I don't know. If you have a thought on that, leave that in the comments. Like I said, I believe he has a number of henchwomen that are named after birds as well, but I could be wrong. If you have a thought on that, comment and let me know. So that's my thoughts on Penguin. Again, I'm interested to see now, maybe in the next 2 or 3 episodes, his final move against Fish. Now that he has everything in place to pretty much bury Fish, what's he going to do with that? Let's talk about Bruce Wayne in this episode. And Bruce and Alfred are practicing their fighting and stuff, and Bruce is practicing his training, and that's all cool to see and interesting to see more of that development in terms of the things that he needs to be Batman and stuff. But the really cool, the really interesting, the really compelling, and the really awesome stuff that we saw from Bruce in this episode are between Bruce and Cat, and Bruce and Selina. Bruce and Selina. Selina in this episode is left at Bruce Wayne's at Wayne Manor to hide and to lay low while Gordon and Dent put together their case. And Bruce and Selina develop a friendship and a relationship that was really cool to watch on screen. And as I said in my earlier reviews, I want to see Bruce Wayne become Bruce Wayne, and we saw that in this week's episode. We saw more than just him sort of pouting and moaning and groaning in the manor. He was actually a kid for a few minutes, and I think that's what Alfred saw as well, and that's why Alfred in the episode sort of turned his viewpoint around in terms of his relationship with Selina. So it was cool to see him be a kid and to play around with Selina and to develop that relationship, because in the comics, Batman and Catwoman are quite close, often romantic. And so it was cool to see that nod to that relationship and to see that Selina was able to bring that out in Bruce. And I'm interested to see more of that. And now that we've seen them sort of develop a friendship, can Selina teach Bruce, like I said, parkour or fighting techniques or stuff like that? Because they had that conversation where Selina says that, you know, in Gotham City people don't fight with gloves. You're going to get tore up in Gotham City, blah, blah, blah. So now that we've established that Bruce's techniques and his fighting and all this are not going to work in Gotham City, can Selina shed a little bit of light on that and teach him how to survive in Gotham and develop the skills that he needs to be Batman? So let's talk about Selina in this episode. As I said, she and Bruce develop that relationship, and as much as she helps Bruce come out of his shell, he helps her come out of her shell a little bit. We've seen in the past Selina very guarded and very sarcastic and very sassy, and in this episode she opens up and we learn a little bit more about her personally, and I enjoyed seeing that. I enjoyed seeing Selina vulnerable finally, and seeing her talk about her mother and that story about her mother being a singer and a spy, and that idea of she has this, what's the word I'm looking for? Not idolization, or it's a fantasy of her mother coming back for her one day. And that idea of the orphan sort of mentality of denial and my mom's coming back for me and all this stuff and all this fantasy about her mother, that was cool to look at and cool to explore. And I want to see more of that, more of the idea that these characters that we know, Selina Kyle, Catwoman, they aren't just what they appear to be on the surface. And we saw that in this episode with Selina, and that was really compelling, and hats off to the writers and to Cameron, the actress who plays Selina Kyle. Hats off to you guys for a really solid episode in terms of Selina's character. Let's finish off my characters review and talk about Harvey Dent. And as I said, Harvey and Gordon developed that strategy of going after these people and flushing out the Wayne's killers. And we see that Harvey is, like I talked about in my previous reviews, Harvey is going about things in the way that I wish Gordon would go about things. Gordon is going about things the honorable and just way, and that's not working in Gotham City. And Harvey is trying to accomplish the same things, but he's going about them in a way that works in the system of Gotham City and works with the program that Gotham City has. And he's a character that is trying to do the right things, but maybe not for the right reasons. He talks about Dick Lovecraft, this magnate, this character that's very rich, very powerful, and how he likes Dick Lovecraft for that Wayne killing. And to me, again, this is the kind of high-profile sort of arrest, high-profile case that can turn Harvey from an ADA to a DA. And I think maybe he's using that, and he's obsessed with that, to advance his career and to take down Lovecraft for whatever personal reason. So he's doing the right things for the wrong reasons. And we saw that nature of the Two-Face, of how he was able to carry himself with the teenager that he sort of mentored and sort of said, I'm going to give you a second chance, kid, and all that stuff. He was able to carry himself with the MCU and in front of Gordon and be very personable and friendly and all this stuff. And then with Lovecraft, he was able to flip on a dime and just snap and basically threaten to tear this dude apart. So we saw that nature of Two-Face come out, and I enjoyed seeing that nod to the character of Two-Face and to that psychosis that's within Harvey Dent, just below the surface, and how he's able to hide that. So that's a compelling character and an interesting character to look at, and somebody that I'm going to be interested to see moving forward. Again, somebody I think who's doing the right things for the wrong reasons, and that's the way that you have to do things in Gotham City almost. That you have to get your hands dirty. You have to work within the system to get things done. And so that kind of covers my thoughts on the characters of this episode. Talking about the story of the episode, I think the story is moving in a very nice direction. The thing with Barbara and Montoya, while I disagree with that choice as a character, personally, I understand the need for that drama, and I'm very interested and invested in seeing what Montoya and Gordon and Barbara are going to bring moving forward. I really enjoyed the stuff with Bruce and Selina, and I want to see more of that. I really enjoyed what we saw out of Gordon in this episode, and I want to see more of him. Talking about Blackgate and Arkham, at the end of the episode, Ian Hargrove and a lot of the mentally unstable inmates in Blackgate are moved to the newly renovated Arkham Asylum. And a commenter, a subscriber, commented on one of my videos, I think on my review of episode 4, Arkham, about how they were disappointed in the fact that we didn't see the rich mythology of Arkham Asylum. And first of all, I thank you for the comment, and again, thank you for the discussion. I appreciate that. You know who you are. And I want to address that. I agree with you in one respect, and then on the other respect, like I commented back, I said that we're seeing the beginnings of that mythology in the series, and we're seeing that the series take on that mythology. So we're not necessarily wasting what we know of Arkham Asylum in the series, we're seeing the beginnings of that and the birth of that. And we saw that in this episode. And I hope that that came across for you and that you were satisfied with that. Because now we see the beginnings of Arkham Asylum and how they're bringing all these psychologically unstable people into for treatment in the newly renovated Arkham Asylum. So we're seeing the beginnings of the mythology of Arkham Asylum and Gotham's take on that mythology. And I think that's the important takeaway here in not only in episode 4 in Arkham, but now in this episode as they revisit it. And speaking of revisiting things, again, we get another suspect and more information about the Wayne killings and how Dick Lovecraft almost doubled his fortune after the Wayne killings, and how he might be a suspect and how he might be involved and how this sketch might play into it. So again, I like how they're telling stories week by week, but also leaving breadcrumbs and revisiting the Wayne killings and all this stuff. One thing I did want to mention about the Wayne killings and that whole storyline is I hope that it doesn't stay open for the entirety of the series. And the reason behind that is I understand that if it stays open for the series, that's a huge motivation for Batman, is finding the Wayne killer. But I don't think it's a sustainable strategy for the series to do that, just from a viewing standpoint. If you leave a story thread like that open for too long, and you keep leaving these breadcrumbs, it's not going to be satisfying to watch. It's not going to be satisfying for the viewers. So eventually they're going to have to tie that thread off, I think. And the way that they do that is going to be interesting. It's going to be compelling to watch. And what happens with that, whether they say definitively that this was the guy that did it, or they do another Mario Pepper scenario where they say that this is the guy that did it, that's going to be interesting to see. One other thing that I did want to touch on in terms of the story, talking about Arkham Asylum and seeing that mythology build, now that we have inmates in Arkham who need treatment, I'm not going to stop saying this, guys, so get ready for me to be saying this week after week after week. We need Harley Quinn in the series. We need Dr. Quinzel to be psychologically analyzing these people and treating these people. Gotham, if you're watching this review, which I know you are because let's face it, this is probably your premier YouTube source for Gotham reviews that contain me in them. So, if you're watching this review, put Harley in, let her treat these guys in Arkham, let's see the beginnings of Harley, a really compelling character, a really interesting character, and somebody that the show really needs and can use in terms of a strong female character and in terms of building that mythology that we've been talking about behind Arkham Asylum. So with that said, Harvey Dent was a solid episode, if not the best episode, if not the most interesting episode or the most story-forward episode. We got a little bit of story and things happened, but again, not the best episode to date, but that's not necessarily a damning criticism. There were just better episodes this season. With that being said, I enjoyed the episode, and I hope you did as well. If you enjoyed this review, leave a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm headed in the right direction. If you want to see more reviews like this, subscribe to the channel, and you'll see those reviews as they come out. If you have anything you want to add, anything I might have missed, anything you want to talk about, comment down below, let me know, or hit me up on Twitter at the DH Reviews, and I will get back to you, and we can talk about the episode. If you want to see more reviews like this, I do Gotham reviews. I do Constantine reviews on Monday, Gotham reviews on Tuesday, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews on Wednesdays, and Scorpion reviews on Thursdays. So look out for those coming out later this week. Share this video, get this video out there on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and let's build a channel. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching. With that said, I've been Dharma Helper, and I will see you in the next video.